Hello, this is Sunil Sunder Raj with Jersey Sporting News. Today, I'm happy to be speaking with Craig Doremus, the head coach and general manager of the New Jersey Titans hockey team that play in the North American Hockey League and recently won their first ever NAHL Robertson Cup National Championship. Coach Doremus, once again, thank you so much for taking some time out to speak to me today. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Hey, once again, congratulations, coach, to you and the rest of the team and the organization. Again, just an incredible, honor. I mean, just to see that you guys winning a championship here for the first time, tons of adrenaline and elation. Just talk about, what comes to your mind first and foremost, coach.
I think, obviously, you go back and you reflect so much, but I think for me, sitting in the position I sit, like, you reflect on all the hard work that goes into it, not only for myself, I think more so for my staff, and the people who work around our team, and how much work and time and passion they put into it. The old cliche, blood, sweat, and tears. But the team means so much to everyone here, and to see them enjoy it and kind of benefit of the fruits of their labor was so fulfilling. And obviously the players, right? Like, so much of the credit goes to the players. They go out and they get the job done. They're able to execute whatever style or system or technique we have put in, and go through there and obviously beat out some really strong competition, some really talented teams throughout our league and across the country. And we're able to come out on top. So full credit to them, and getting to see them enjoy that together. Because each player has their own individual story, right? And you get to know those stories as you coach them. And to see them persevere and succeed is so fulfilling.
So let's talk about the championship game against Anchorage Wolves, a 3-0 shutout win at Fogarty Arena in Blaine, Minnesota. Your goalie, Andrew Takix, 31 saves. Just had a phenomenal season, Andrew did. Tommy Bannister named MVP. Goals from Tommy, Brendan Dumas, and Anthony Calafiore. Just talk about the game overall and just, the contributions, from those players.
Yeah, I think for us, it was the culmination of a lot of lessons learned, and a lot of teaching and growing as individuals and teams, and it comes together almost quote unquote perfectly. Kind of wild how it worked out. First name you mentioned is Andrew Takis. I laughed when you mentioned it. People think success is accidental, and as I sit here speaking to you today on July 28th, if you just peer outside my office, Andrew Takis is on the ice right now. He's on the ice right now in preparation for next season already. The work hasn't stopped for him. It'll never stop for him, and that's why he's so successful. We acquire Andrew in an early season trade, and he ends up putting up a shutout. It's funny, going into the game, there was some different press and media clippings, and a couple of players on Anchorage were quoted saying that Andrew was shaky going into the game. And I knew once I saw that come out that we were going to be okay, because he's a kid who gets fueled by that stuff, and he goes and puts out a shutout. Tommy Bannister, a kid who embodied everything and who and what we were. Had a really tough first year of junior hockey, came back, responded in his second year, grew, matured, developed, had a great second year of junior hockey, paced out team and offense throughout the year, sustained a late season injury, unfortunately, and was able to come back in the playoffs and battle through a really tough recovery period. And then he comes out there and gets, a huge performance for us in the playoffs. Brendan Dumas and Anthony Calafiore with their line mate Nick Bring was arguably the top line throughout the entire Robertson Cup playoffs. They were excellent. They were basically doing whatever they wanted in the offensive zone. They were enforcing their will time and time again, and they come up there and obviously just play a huge role in that final game victory. And all three players are just so talented, and they complement each other so well. And for us, it created such depth, and it was so hard for teams to match up with us because you had to pick your poison per se. And then you come back and you package that with elite defensive play and an elite goaltender, and there you go. You hoist the trophy a couple hours later.
When that final buzzer and that horn sounded, Coach, I just had to ask you what was running through your mind.
I it's funny, as you mentioned, I get choked up here. I start to get the goosebumps again. Like, the first thought for me was I turned to my assistant coach, Bobby Dorico. Bobby and I have been together, I think it's 12 to 14 years at this point. And there's been a lot of success and a lot of challenges and ups and downs, both personally and professionally. And I think I just turned to him, and it was like, job well done. Like, we arrived. And that's probably the biggest thing for me, was just going through that point with him. And then obviously you shift your attention to the rest of the staff and the players as well. But that was a really cool moment for me to have with him.
That's great. That's great. It was quite a memorable playoff run. I mean, it was not easy. You guys had to really battle through adversity. I mean, just looking at it, just to reach, the championship game, especially that matchup against the New Mexico Ice Wolves. I mean, the fact that you were trailing late in the game, Anthony, scores a game, scores a goal to send it into overtime. Ryan Coughlin scores on a power play goal in double overtime. Just talk about that series, Coach Dormus.
Yeah, I mean that series. What a hockey series! Like it's one of those series where obviously we won it, so it's easy to reflect positively about it. But like it was truly a series where neither team deserved to lose. It was unbelievable hockey, and full credit to Phil Fox, the Ice Wolves organization, their team. It was an incredible series. Like you almost got caught up in it as a fan as you sit there and coach the game, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, I can't believe this is like going on. Like this is good hockey. It looked like a professional hockey game. Like it was two heavyweights going back and forth, making plays, and really good series. And for us, I just thought everyone talked about, like, even my own father spoke to me. He's like, you could write a movie script about your playoff run like that. You can't plan that. And I said, no, you can't plan it, but you can prepare for it. And I think a lot of it had to do with how we trained throughout the year, our perseverance, the mental strength we demonstrated throughout. Like there wasn't a sense of panic really ever from our team. We had a little bit of quiet confidence, cockiness, swagger to us that made us believe that we were really never out of any game, regardless of circumstance or challenges. Like I talked to people throughout the year, and they even said to me at times, they said, your team looks at times like they allow the other teams to play with them just so they could go and step on them at the end. And trust me, it wasn't planned that way. It wasn't organized like that. But I, you got that feeling where our guys were just never, the moment was never too big for them. They just got it, and losing wasn't an option. It just wasn't going to be an option for this group. They were destined to win.
No, that's fantastic. And let's go back to that series against the Jamestown Rebels. Dropped that first game, won the next three. It said once again, Anthony Califer steps up and I mean, I'm telling you, he had, I guess the flair for the dramatics here, a lot of heart pounding action, but Stephen Willie, the captain, scores in the third overtime, to send you guys to the Robertson Cup Final Four. Just another incredible series. Can you just talk about that as well, Coach Dormus?
Yeah, and I think it's almost poetic, right? Like, Anthony's a big time hockey player. Like, I'm biased. I've gotten to coach the kid now for 2 years. I've known Anthony for longer than that. And I think he's a kid who always gets questioned and overlooked and overseen, and because maybe his size is it, but like if you look at the person and you get to know the person, you would not be shocked about the player he is. Anthony fights for everything he gets. He earns it. He works hard. He's relentless in his pursuit of excellence. He will not be told he can't do something. He's going to achieve it. He's going to get it done. And for us, he's come in here into our culture, assimilated so well into our organization. He's a huge part of what we are and who we are. And he's the type of guy you want him on the ice, big moments. Big players make special plays, big moments. And Anthony has that ability. And quite frankly, that's why he's going to be so successful in college hockey and in life moving forward. He's just an unbelievable kid. You brought up our captain, Stephen Willie, and it's like almost poetic, right? Here you are, you're trying to get to the Robertson Cup Finals, first time in organization history, and your goalie makes an outlet pass in overtime that goes the length of the ice, and your captain picks it up on a line change and goes and scores on a breakaway. And it's funny, if you got to know Stephen Willie wasn't the kid who was the most offensive player for us. Stephen, as the captain, steered the ship here in terms of our dressing room, our culture, played key moments for us when we were up, penalty killed for us. He does a lot of the things that are dirty and you don't get a lot of credit for. And at times he was even frustrated with how much more he wanted to score. And I just told him, I said, listen, your role as the captain of this team is so much bigger than just scoring goals. And I think as Stephen got more and more comfortable and confident in that and in his own skin in that role, his game just got better. And quite frankly, the team got better. I don't think I could have wrote a better script in terms of how I would have liked to got to Minnesota other than Stephen Willie being the guy to make the play at that time.
Yeah. That's great. Hey, and opening up against the Northeast Generals, that was no easy, task. 5-game series, It said Ryan Coughlin scoring at the buzzer, a come from behind victory. I mean, just talk about that. I mean, just you know, being able to withstand that type of pressure and just being able to overcome that. Just talk about that as well, Coach Doremus.
Yeah, it's funny as you go through this, you reflect back on the entire experience. We
Yeah,
talked about the New Mexico series. Now you look back to the Northeast series, and I've been
yeah,
around hockey a long time. I've played when I started at 5 or 6 years old. I'm now 40, so I've been around the game for a long time. And I would argue
yeah.
that two of the best series I've ever been a part of happened within a month span of each other. That Northeast General series, they pushed us to the brink. Full credit to Brian and his
Hmm.
organization. They did a great job. They really, really challenged us. And even in Game 5, there we were down 3-0 on home ice. Like any other team at any other moment, any other year, just folds the tent right there and
Yeah,
gives up. Our guys just, okay, here we go, and obviously we get the game winner at the buzzer to advance on, and just crushing for those guys, and it propels us moving forward. But what a hockey series, and you mentioned it so far, like Ryan Coughlin, like OT Cogs, as we call him here, like just steps
hmm,
up, makes big plays at the biggest moments. And he's another kid who just plays such a hard, honest game and embodies our culture in terms of being relentless and never giving up, and always having a stick to itiveness that is so impressive. And just kind of writes his story in terms of our history books here.
yeah. I just was wondering, Coach Storms, heading into the playoffs. You guys won your first, regular season East Division, it's a championship. What did that mean? And then what was the message, to the team, again, going into the postseason? I had to ask you about that.
Yeah, it was funny. Like as it went on, as the year went on and progressed, like we were really struggled early on out of the gates. We made some changes, gave ourselves a
Yeah.
chance. Then you start to figure out like, hey, okay, we could do something here. And the guys just took off, and we were able to clinch the Eastern Division title a little bit early in the year. We had
Hmm.
pulled away quite a bit, and we got that. And it was a big like I know some teams like, oh, it's not a big. It was a big deal for us. Like we wanted
Yeah.
to. We talked about making history here, and we've been so close so many times. The COVID season, blah blah blah, but we
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that this group had something to um, signify and hang on to for a number of years, and they did. Right, the banner. Now they got that banner. It was
Hmm.
funny though. After that happened, we really didn't play well again. We took our foot off the gas, I believe, and we should have won the regular season title overall for the league, and we ended up missing out on it by 1 point. We didn't play well.
Hmm.
I think the guys had a little bit of a letdown in terms of mission accomplished. It was probably more so on my mind than theirs in terms of the regular season title. It ended up working out great, but we had to really kick it back into gear come playoff time after achieving that goal that we had spoke about, quite
Yeah.
frankly, almost day to day.
Yeah. Just talking about the regular season, I mean, you guys went 41-16-3, but there were a number of changes. You said you made trades, you brought in players here. You talk about Andrew and Anthony, David Posma. I mean, led the league in, plus minus with plus 43. And then, of course, the big trade as they call, you're trading, a favorite Jake LaRussa to North Iowa Bulls for Chris Carroll. And, it said Ryan Coughlin. I mean, that was, I mean, you look back on, I mean, that was one of the, signature moves that really paid off for you, I said this season, Coach Dormus.
Yeah, you make you hit it on the head. The only guy you didn't talk about is Billy Fetzko, but
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Yeah.
those 5 or 6
Yeah.
moves there really push us over the top. And obviously Callie, Anthony, and David Posman coming back early from the USHL.
Yeah.
Just they fit so well into our culture, having been here as veteran players prior, and they bring so much swagger and confidence to our team, and obviously that pushed us. Bringing in Andrew here gave us the chance. Like I talked to everyone about, well, when did you know things were different, blah blah blah. And I
Hmm.
remember after Andrew's first start with us in Jamestown, he met the team in Jamestown after the trade, and he played right away. And after that first game, I turned to my staff and I said, "Now we can win."
Yeah.
You could tell he had the confidence. He was going to be able to cover up some of our flaws at that point of the season, and he was going to be a difference maker. Season progresses forward. Obviously, we want to lengthen the lineup and create a little bit more offense. We move longtime Titan Jake LaRusso to North Iowa, acquire two incredible young men. I mean, Chris Carroll and Ryan Coughlin, hockey players, human beings, men, leaders, take our team to a different level, completely different level. And we really start to take off as a team. We get to that part of it, and now you're getting closer to the playoffs, and you have an opportunity to acquire Billy Fetzko. Billy Fetzko is at that point a reigning Robertson Cup champion, tons of playoff experience, plays
Hmm.
the game the right way on both sides of the puck, and it's kind of the missing piece up front for us.
Yeah.
We go all in on it. We're able to get him, and he comes here, and it's funny. We joked with him at the end of the year. We were going to get playoff Billy T-shirts made because I think Billy Fetzko's best hockey is at that time of the year. Billy's not going to be the most flashy, appealing, sexy guy throughout the regular season, but when you get to the playoffs and you got to play the game a certain way to be successful, he does it shift in and shift out, and he brings that competitiveness and that experience to our team. And probably could say for a lot of guys, but I don't think we win without Billy. I really don't. I think everything came together perfectly, and all the players played a unique, significant role in their own way.
Yeah, 15 points in 20 games, except for Billy. Hey, one other player I wanted to mention, Coach, and my bad if I mispronounced his name, is Levente Carastes. He scored the, goal in overtime to force a third and deciding game. Just talk about Levente, just what he meant to, this team as well this year.
Yeah, the best way to talk about Levente is to bring you kind of an inside look at what goes on here day to day. We meet with Levy a lot, and the reason we meet with him a lot is we call him the X Factor. He's a 6'5" physical specimen, really talented young man, really smart hockey player, versatile, can play multiple positions up front, can play in all situations. And when he's at his best and he works hard and moves his feet and has his mind straight, he could be that guy. The challenge for him growing and maturing has been to bring that every day. And I think for him, the upside is I think Levente could play professional hockey. I think he can make a lot of money for his family if he really locks in and focuses and is consistent in his approach. But then you have the times, like many of the young men, where they don't bring their best effort, they don't put their best foot forward, and then he can be irrelevant at times. And I'm not telling you anything I wouldn't say to his face. Like, these are the talks we have with him, and I think again how apropos that at the biggest time of the year, who steps up and becomes the X factor, right? And he scores the winning goal, so right away everyone thinks goal. Wow, great job. What they don't see is if you watch the game, he plays against their top line all game long, plays against Dylan Bentley, their best player, all series long, and really minimizes his impact on the game. And that's why Levy is so important to our team, right? And I think as he moves on to the college level, it's going to be crucial to that locker room and environment as well. He's a special kid. He's a great young man. And I think once he really figures out what it takes to be successful day to day, watch out. Watch out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Just have a couple more. I can't take for the time, Coach Doremus. You talked there earlier about your coaching staff, and I wanted to ask you as well as the upper management, assistant general manager, assistant coach. You mentioned Bobby DeRico, George Havlin, president and director of player personnel, assistant coach Kyle Shapiro, Andre Kopernov, skating and skills coach, George Bozak, goaltending coach. Just talk about. It really takes a solid foundation structure to have build a winning organization. Just talk about these guys, and just in terms of that again, what they've meant to you, and just in terms of the organization here.
Yeah, listen, it takes a village. Like, there's no way you win without every one of those pieces coming together, collaborating, cooperating, right? And obviously putting the organization at the forefront. Just to start there, Bobby DeRico, again, to speak. We've been together for so long. Bobby's the assistant GM here and the associate head coach. He does such a great job in what he does, and I put a lot on his plate as the general manager. That takes a lot of my time, and Bobby's able to step in for large periods of times here and be the pseudo head coach and really steer the ship and get the team prepared, especially as I'm dealing with stuff off the ice, logistics, trades, player personnel decisions. He does a great job. Kyle Shapiro, our assistant coach here, does a tremendous job, not only with the goaltending position, but the players and the video review and what he's able to give out players on a informational standpoint in terms of preparation week to week. Him and Bobby working on the game plan and the video work that gets into it, working on the execution of our practice plans, and also logistics with our travel and how organized we are with that. Gary Biggs is another one of our assistant coaches, but he's also our director of scouting, right? And you look at our roster construction, and it's no coincidence we're as good as we are. Gary and Kyle kind of spearhead that part of the operation for us. And they've done a tremendous job here as we sit here at main camp this week. We've had over 200 really good players trying out for this team this week, right? And that's a lot of credit to those guys, and the cream does rise to the top, and that's a credit to those guys as well. They do a tremendous job identifying, seeking out, recruiting talent. And I think that's why our roster is extremely deep. That's why so many kids go on to such successful college hockey careers. These guys do an excellent job, and they really, really work hard. And we're lucky enough where we have guys like Gary and Kyle and Bobby on the ice with us day to day. The kids get so much coaching here. It's awesome. It's so cool to
Yeah.
be part of and see it. And I think that's why their growth is there. You mentioned George Havlin. George has been the guy here since I've been here, right? Him and his family have been the patriarchs of this organization for so long, and you know, they take such pride in our logo and who and what we are, and they've given us so many tools and amenities here to be successful. And you know, George took a lot of pride and kind of a leap of faith to bring the North American Hockey League to the East Coast, right? He was at the forefront of it, and I think it was really, really, really apropos to see him be the first owner to raise the cup out of the Eastern Division. I just think that's how it should have been. He's put his blood, sweat, and tears into this program, into this league, to see it take off and give it a platform, and the players a platform to have this avenue to go to college hockey. And to see him continually smile since that moment's been really good for me. Jimmy Solove and his group came in this, you know, I think it was right before the COVID season, and they've put this program on steroids. The amount of amenities that they've given out players in terms of off-ice training and facilities here, and it's been it's been ridiculous to be part of. Like, there's times where you question, like, how good is this? Like, this doesn't seem real. You know, our players are treated as good as they are at the Division I level. And I think there's no coincidence that our success rate has gone higher and higher since then. George Bozak last year contributed a lot to our goalies. I think George brings a unique perspective to it in terms of his ability to just focus on one position, right? And I think that's really special for our guys, and to have that resource to communicate with and talk to and review some film. It's a different voice than the rest of the coaches. But it takes a village, right? And it just takes so many people to make this happen, not just to happen day to day, literally just to take place, but then to be really successful at it and be, I could say it now, to be the best, not just one of the best, to be the very best. It takes so much, like I talked about. I think people don't understand truly how much collaboration and communication has to go into that in order to have success at this level. And I think it's a credit to a lot of the guys that we've talked about that were able to do so at such a high rate.
That's right. Terrific. And I'm wondering, when you took over, I think, 6 years ago, I just from day one now until here 2022, I mean, could you envision and foresee, I mean, the level of immense success that you would have throughout the years, or every year, you know, said with the New Jersey Titans? It just popped into my head, Coach Doremus.
Yeah, you know, it's a loaded question you asked me there, and I
know.
I want to answer it the right way. So, but I also want to preface it by saying I'm not a cocky guy. Bobby and I don't go anywhere not to be the best. Everywhere we've gone, we've raised the level of what we do. We have a lot of conviction and confidence in who we are and what we are. And it's more so because who we are as people, more so than hockey coaches. I'm not surprised at the success we've had. It's been based on hard work. I don't think anyone works harder than we do. I don't think anyone cares about their players more than we do. Because of our non-traditional background, I don't know if there's anyone in the sport with as big a chip on their shoulder as us. We're blue-collar guys who came from blue-collar families, and we want to continually prove people wrong who have second-guessed and doubted our ability to do this and do this at a successful rate. And I think we've done a really good job of that. You know, we're Robertson Cup champs one time so far. Hopefully many more in the future. But there's a lot of folks who questioned us who won't even scratch the surface of what we've done.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, Coach, about you need a strong support system, family especially. Just wanted to ask you what that meant to you, you know, said here with your coaching journey.
Yeah, you're really trying to play on my emotions here and getting me stirred up. You're pretty good at this. Family's everything, right? You need that strong support group at home, and a hockey wife life is not easy. Bobby and I haven't played a home game, quote unquote, in 6 years now. We live in New York and we work in New Jersey, and even when we're home, we stay here. So I think my wife she's been great. Like, when we first started dating, I was working for the New York Rangers, right? And then I proceeded through my hockey career since then, and she's always understood the time that it takes to be successful, and you know, the amount of time I'd be away from her, and now that we have children, the amount of time and events I miss from them. You have to have that support, or else it's just not going to work. I don't know another way to put it, right? You can't be worrying about the pressure of your wife not supporting you and nagging, as they say. She's
Yeah.
been great. I'm sure it's very hard on her at times, and she bites her tongue. But she's done a great job, and my kids too. Like it's hard. It's hard as they've
Yeah.
gotten older. When your kid asks you like, "Daddy, why do you have to leave again?" Like that puts
Yeah.
a knife right through your heart.
Yeah.
But to have their support and to see them enjoy the success here as well, and the first thing I did with the cup was take it home and let my kids see it, touch it, feel it, drink some juice
Yeah.
from it, have some fun with it, because I want
Yeah.
them to be part of it because they've been so much a part of my success posse here, and they've allowed me to pursue my career and my dreams. And at times it hasn't been easy, and I'm sure we've gotten after each other pretty good here, but they've always supported me. And the other
Yeah.
cool part when you talk about family is like my family, my father, my uncles, they're all hockey guys. They grew up in and around the sport. Obviously, from New York City, didn't have a huge
Yeah.
opportunity to do it at a level like I've had, and to see them be part of the success. And I wanted to make sure they were involved. They lifted the cup. They've T-shirts and hats, and FaceTiming them. Like that's pretty cool, man. I wish
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
would get that opportunity to share that type of moment with their folks and their loved ones, because that was probably the pinnacle of it for me.
Yeah. Those are memories that live on forever. You talk about your coaching experience. I mean, also working with the Rangers. You worked with the Metro Moose, Long Island Gulls, New York Bobcats. How all those experiences shaped you, in terms of and prepared you, said for this moment, here as well, Coach Doremus.
Yeah, it's funny as you win the championship and your phone just goes haywire, right? I think when I looked at my phone that night, I had 440 some odd texts, right? So you
Wow.
get on the bus and you start to scroll and you talk to
Yeah.
obviously your wife and your kids and X and Y, and now you start scrolling, and there was kids who I coached back in probably 2002, 2003, 2004, and they're texting me,
Yeah.
right? My Metro Moose guys, Christ the King high school players,
Hmm.
um, Gulls, Bobcats, they're all texting me. And, I wanted them all to feel part of it. Because at the end of the day, if I don't go through those shared experiences with those players, I'm not who I am as a coach or as a
Yeah.
person today. I've said it to anyone who listens to me. Those kids with the Metro Moose were some of the best people you could ever come across. Like, they were blue collar families who came from humble backgrounds, and that hockey team meant everything to them, right? And we won a ton of games, and we went to a
Yeah.
ton of championships and won and had success. Um, when I went to the Bobcats, we kind of rechanged the way things were there, and we brought so many kids from all over the country to play for us. And those kids have become really successful college athletes, men, husbands, fathers, and even my former Titans. Like, I've been lucky, man. Like, I've been
Yeah.
surrounded by so many good players who are good people and staff members. There's former assistant coaches and people I've worked with on staffs who reached out and text. And the one thing I kept saying to everyone, and I don't want to sound generic or cookie cutter, just this is for all of us. I wanted everyone to feel part of this.
Mhm.
And again, you mentioned it before. Like I told you with Andrew, he's on the ice here. I'm listening
Yeah.
to
Mm.
three of my former players from the Titans from prior to the
Yeah.
COVID team. And they're here now sharing this experience at camp and giving back and sharing experiences with future players, training with a current goaltender. Like, that to me is everything. Like, so many people talk about family, talk about culture. We don't, we live it here. We
Yeah.
live it, we walk it. It's organic. You could see it, you could feel it, you could touch it. And that to me is that's the proud papa moment for me, to see these guys come together, whether they've played together or not. They're united by the flag of the Titans, Bobcats, Gulls, Moose, whatever it is. And even there's been so much cross pollination from my former guys. To see those relationships cultivated and obviously go on now is awesome. And whether it's helping somebody else get a job as they graduate college, advocating for them, helping them with whatever they can in life.
Yeah.
These guys are all like family, in one way, or form, or another.
That's wonderful. I just have two more before you get the final word here, Coach Storm. Is in terms of the game of hockey, it may be a long-winded question, but just some of the intangibles that stand out. What makes the game, of course, when you play, but now, of course, being a coach and GM, what makes it so special? What separates hockey, of course, from the rest of the other, as said, sports out there? I had to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think for me, well, I can't speak to what other sports offer or don't. I'm not as intimate with them as I am with the
Yeah.
hockey. What I can tell you about hockey is I think it translates so well to real life. I don't want to say issues, real life period, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's not always going to be easy. There's going to be other people who work hard and do well at their jobs. There's an accountability in terms of off ice responsibility. There's an accountability in terms of on ice performance. Um, what I really like in today's society, there's a level of communication that isn't just desired, it's necessary. I think communication, if we could all as human beings just sit back and communicate, I think so
Yeah.
many issues could be solved right now. Just so many people are
Hmm.
unwilling to communicate. And it's something we talk about in our dressing room at all times. Have hard conversations, have real conversations. It's
Yep.
amazing what you'll come from, and avoid animosity and distrust. And um, I just like the life lessons learned from it. For me, it was everything. I think I've done pretty well for myself in terms of I have a beautiful wife, I have a great family. Um, I'm able to support them, and I want to make sure my kids' lives are great and fulfilling. Um, and I think a lot of that comes from what I've went through as a hockey player growing up and getting really good coaching, really hard coaching, people who were honest with me and didn't tell me everything was going to be okay. You had to go out and earn whatever you wanted. And even if you did at times, it wasn't going to work out your way. And that didn't mean you could cry and go home and take your toys from the sandbox. You had to kind of pick it up, pick your head up, and get after it a little bit harder next
Yep.
time.
Yep.
It's real. I think the hockey game, what I tell everyone is honest. I think it sniffs out pretenders and frauds. And I think that's real life. Like,
Yeah.
life's hard. Life's hard. And the world we live in right now is challenging, right? And
Hmm.
you're going to have to learn to deal with things when they don't go your way. And you're going to have to learn to communicate and cooperate, collaborate with people you may not like. But that's okay.
Yep.
And I think this sport brings so many of those intangibles. And I think as you look at young athletes coming up now, you almost wish you could tell them, like, the goals and the assists matter, but they don't matter that much. It's more about what you're becoming as a human being that's going to hold
Mm.
true in life. Because more often than not, you're not playing professional, right? You're going to be professional in something else other than this sport. So
Yep.
let's take the important lessons you could learn and put those into everyday life.
Yeah, that was going to be my final question, Coach Storm, is what your message and advice would be for those younger kids and athletes, and then people who want to break into the coaching ranks. So maybe for you probably answered that first part, but maybe for the
No,
people who want to, yeah,
yeah, I think for younger guys coming up, younger people, because the game's growing so
yeah,
much with girls now. It's so cool to see.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
for everyone. It is in
hmm,
everyone's sport.
yeah,
I would tell them work hard. I would tell them when things don't go your way, that's okay. Pick your head up and keep working hard. I would tell everyone, as I sit here now, dreams do come true.
yeah,
They do. I'm living it. Um, and just I think I would tell everyone that regardless of how far you go in the sport, how far you don't go, make sure you do well in school. Give yourself an opportunity to go play collegiately if you can, right? And academics are such a big part of that. I think it gets overlooked. Study hard, prepare hard, take school seriously. Because again, you're probably going to be more successful outside of playing the sport than you are in the sport. That's just what the numbers say. Chase your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you can't do anything. And I would say for coaches breaking into it, um, it's not all about winning. Like, I'm such a believer in, like, and it's funny, I tweet about it all the time. Like, just be a better person, make people's lives
yeah,
better around you, try to enhance them, whether that's through a coaching lesson, giving them a ride somewhere, listening to them, being a voice for them, being an ear for them. Ask them, how's your day going? I think there's so much more you can be as a young coach in this. And I think if you do that stuff and you really truly connect with your players on a personal level, you'll be even more amazed with how much you can coach them in terms of hockey.
yeah,
Because once they know you care about them as people, then they're going to let their guard down and allow you to coach them as hockey players. I think you have to develop that relationship with them. That's my coaching style.
hmm,
Others is different. It's more stern and black and white and business-like, and that's fine. There's really successful people who do it like that. For me, it's been more about the bigger picture. For me, it's been about getting a text or an email or a phone call inviting you to a former player's kid's christening or their college graduation, or when they tell you that their dad's not doing well with cancer. Like, that to me has been more what it's about. And
yeah,
I think if you could do that, you're going to have yourselves a really fulfilling life in coaching.
yeah. No, well
Oh,
said.
oh, and
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
don't expect to get rich.
Okay. Yeah,
One other thing here that I forgot to
yeah,
mention before, and I wanted to make
yeah.
sure that I spoke
Sure.
about it, was
Yeah.
the work of our support staff with our strength and conditioning team.
Yes.
Um, Andrew Watkins and his team are the elite of the elite. The SPL, which we're lucky enough to be part of here in the Middletown Sports Complex. The
Hmm.
work they put in this year cannot be ignored. And when you talk about it takes a village, there's a reason why Andrew's name's on the cup.
Yeah.
He's a huge part of that success posse that we had in support group. The way he was able to challenge and train these kids week to week, day to day, we don't win without him. Our team strength this year was the best it's ever been. The conditioning level was the best it's ever been. You talked a lot about those late game wins, those overtime wins. I've told everyone those games could have gone on forever and we were winning. Our
Yeah.
players were prepared for those moments, both from a coaching standpoint, yes, but Andrew and his team have a lot to do with that success and how we were able to sustain our level of play throughout. Like, again, we were just trained for it. I don't know
Yeah.
if other teams were. I can't say they weren't, but I know we were.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that those late games all ended up in our favor. They did a tremendous job. Again, you talk about communication and collaboration. Andrew and my staff were on the same page, and we talk a lot. We challenge each other, right? We work together in terms of what's best for the players every single day, every single week, month, and we project out where we have to be moving forward. And him and his team do a great job of putting that plan in place and then seeing it through and executing it.
Yeah.
And I think his ability to connect with the guys individually allows him to push them. And his staff's unbelievable. Aaron, Sam, Jeff, everyone just works so collaboratively together to give the players their best ability to be the best version of themselves, whether it's from a strength conditioning standpoint, from a rehab standpoint. Our players are giving NHL like treatment, NHL like amenities to become the best version of themselves. Obviously, it turns over to the player at that point to see that through, right? But they're
Hmm.
given that opportunity. And I think it's no coincidence that our guys did a really good job of buying into that this year and then rewarded for that later in the year. But I think for me to go through any interview right now and not mention Andrew and the SPL team would be really, really short sighted of me. So I wanted to make sure I got
Yeah.
them as part of this because Andrew's not only become a coworker of mine, he's like family. And he was a huge part of what we did.
Yeah, no, excellent point you made. I'm glad you did that, Coach, because I think strength and conditioning, nutrition, I mean, there are a bunch of mitigating factors, and those all add up, and they play again an essential role to a team's success. So I applaud you for that. I think that definitely is important. You brought up a good point. And I want to ask you about facilities as well. Middletown Sports Complex. Just talk about that as well. Just in terms of utilizing that, Coach Dormus.
Yeah, it's our own little utopia. It's a hockey factory, as I tell people. This is a barn where you come and you're given every ability to become the best, from a dressing room standpoint and what we offer the players with a player lounge and dry stalls and NHL amenities there to the gym and the equipment and the people that are involved there. Um, they're NHL quality like facilities and professionals that are involved with our team on a day-to-day basis. You could walk up the stairs and do brain training, neuro training, lifting, whatever you got to do there. And then you can go downstairs and get cryotherapy or go on an anti-gravity treadmill or whatever you need to be successful that given day, whether it's treatment,
Yeah.
strength, video work, whatever you need. This facility offers everything. Like I've told people, like I think what we've done a really good job of here, due to our ownership group's investment, is we've given the players every professional amenity they need. Right now, we need them to professionally invest in their own careers. We've taken away every excuse in terms of why you can't do something or be something. Right? We've given you that platform, the ability to do so. Now you got to come here and take advantage of it. And I think a lot of our players are figuring that out, both the junior and youth side. That it's all here. It's all under one roof. That's unique. I mean, we own the rink. We own all the facilities. It's not very common to see throughout the U.S. And we have it right here in Middletown, New Jersey. And I've said it long and hard. Like in theory, you can walk into this facility as a 4-year-old and go through the Learn to Skate program, walk into the same building for the next 15 years of your life, play at every appropriate age level moving forward, and then get to junior hockey, play for the North American League Titans, then go to college hockey. I don't know how many other facilities across the United States of America can realistically offer that same ability. And I
Yeah.
think that makes us special and unique.
Yeah, that's definitely an impressive pipeline. Coach Dormus, you get the final word and message here for family, friends, the New Jersey Titans, to the players, coaching staff, organization, even I said your past stops as well in terms of coaching. Your alma mater, Christ the King. I give you the floor, Coach Dormus.
No, just I appreciate everyone being part of the journey here. Obviously, it's been special and unique. We sit here now as on the final day of main camp, and I can tell you we are so excited to get back to work. This has been a great week of hockey, seeing some old faces, seeing a lot of new faces, and we want to do it again. I think that's what's been so fun for me is doing it once has been really nice and a lot of fun. I don't know if I want to end another season without that now, and that becomes the
Yeah,
motivation now, right? Like
yeah,
this has been so cool to be part of here, and um, my first meeting with the hockey ops staff the other night going into this week was about the shift from going the hunter to the hunted. And I think that takes on unique challenges as well. And that's
yeah.
different for us. And I think that's good for us. I think we need that. So it'll keep us sharp on our toes here. And I think we've always wanted to make sure that, my hopes and dreams has always been to be the gold standard in hockey. I want that. I think it's realistic. Again, I told you I'm not the type of person who doesn't have a lot of self-confidence. And I believe this facility and this program, the New Jersey Titans, we could become the destination for serious hockey players across the United States of America. And I think this was us not so politely arriving at the door and kicking it in per se. We're here. We're going to be here for a long time. We look forward to challenges, but we look forward to more so our success coming in the future here.
Well said. Coach Storm, it's an incredible honor and privilege, being able to interview you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Congrats again to you and the rest of the organization on winning your first NAHL, Robertson Cup championship, and wishing all of you, the best. I said this upcoming season.
I appreciate it, and I hope a lot of local people who maybe don't know who we are or what we are can get down next season. I think you'll see some really great young men who will make you proud, represent your state and your cities on the ice here. And I think it's a really affordable, family fun experience that you can get to. And it's different here. You can connect with the players and get a real feel that you may not get at the National Hockey League level. And I think you can get a great experience coming to see these guys do what they do.
Thank you, Coach Stormus.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.